We have just found a new planet, a super Earth, only 18.2 light years away, that could possibly support life. Yes, this is the planet GJ251c. Don't you love the way they name these things? It's named after the star GJ251, and C would be the third planet basically away from the star. So, they are third planet found. They denominate them that way. It should be the distance from the sun. And this one took a little longer because there's another planet that orbits closer to that star that they found first, which was, you guess it, GJ251b. Now, GJ251b goes around the star once every 14 days, and it's much too close. It's too hot to be in the habitable zone for liquid water. But GJ251c is in the habitable zone, although maybe a little bit on the outside, but being a super Earth, if it had an atmosphere like Earth, the water might be mostly ice. However, being a super Earth, it might have a bigger, more carbonaceous atmosphere, be hotter, and therefore may have liquid water on it. Because a bigger planet might retain a bigger atmosphere, although a star, it would have to have a magnetosphere probably to maintain the atmosphere along. So here, there's certain challenges about the kind of star it's orbiting. It's orbiting a red dwarf star, and it's orbiting pretty close. We know red dwarfs like to get hyperactive and throw out some really big flares, some really large coronal mass ejections. And I don't know if it's got really strong solar wind, per se, probably don't. But if you're that close to it, you might feel the effects more. So these are the kind of things that might tend to strip an atmosphere away. However, being a bigger planet, it might be able to retain it. Now, also, we know that to be able to preserve your atmosphere, unlike Mars, which once had a good one, may have evolved life on it, it may be the case that you need a magnetic field. And that's what's protected Earth's atmosphere as opposed to the Martian atmosphere, which got stripped away because it didn't have a magnetic field to protect it. So the problem with the magnetic field is it's usually from, the rotating core, the materials inside a planet with, metallic core. And of course, a larger planet might have a larger magnetic core. Unfortunately, though, these planets tend to be locked phase locked into their star. Like if this, well, not an asteroid, but a star, and if this were the planet as it goes around, one face would be facing, because it's so close, one face is probably always facing that red dwarf star, always the same face. But given around every 54 days, it might still be able to churn things up enough inside to maintain a magnetosphere, but it gets more questionable. Being a larger planet might have a better chance of that. But Jupiter's got an immense magnetic field, and it's a long way from our sun. So it's kind of hard to say. It might have a magnetosphere enough to maintain atmosphere, especially being a larger planet, but it might not. So there's a lot of questions. Does it have enough atmosphere? Does it have the right kind of atmosphere to maintain a liquid water on the surface? These are things we do not currently know. Telescopes will be training on it because it's only 18.2 light years away. So we're going to learn a lot more about this planet really soon. But the problem with these planets that have one face locked into the star, kind of the moon to the Earth, Mercury to the sun, is that, well, actually, Mercury has a synchronous phase lock. But anyway, about 3 to 2, and it could be like that too. It could be a synchronous phase lock where it's got a little bit of revolution, like maybe 2 or 3 revolves, spins as it goes around. But most likely it's like the Earth and the moon, most likely, where you always see the same face on the moon because it is tidally locked to Earth. So one of the big issues of a planet like that, we call them eyeball planets because one side's always in the light and the other side's always in the dark. So the dark side's going to be cold and the light side's going to be super hot. And that might help being a little bit further away from the star. It might make it a little bit more palatable, but you're going to have heating in one area and cooling in the other. So all the atmospheric air is going to well up from the hot spot, go around in the upper atmosphere, and then come back down over the polar region, which might warm that up a little bit right at the pole, but it's going to cool down and come back in. So you're going to have a lot of wind and a cold wind blowing, which might be helpful in a hot place. So that might help. but it's going to be a pretty windy place. Maybe there's mountains to shield against some of that wind. I don't know how you manage a world like that. If it's a water world, that would be easier to handle those variances, and especially for creatures living under the water. Surface creatures might have a harder time surviving on an eyeball planet, but an eyeball planet that's four sizes the size of Earth might be more survivable. There's just a lot of things people can debate till the cows come home, and we just don't really know all the ins and outs about how that would operate. But this is an interesting planet because it's so close. We should be able to get a lot of data on it real soon because it's just been discovered. So I will show you some things on this planet here. Give me a second. Yeah, well, some articles on it because we don't have a good image of it. The way they discovered it, let me show you this in a minute. Show you how they discovered this thing. And it was by a Penn State. I got to, here it is. Penn State actually had an instrument that found this thing, and it's called the Habitable Zone Planet Finder. And what they did is typically when you're looking for a planet like that, they look at occulting. I mean, before I share this, let me explain this. Occulting is when the planet travels in front of the star, and you see dimming. Now, another thing that can give you dimming is like what we call sunspots, but it'd be star spots on the star. We get dark spots on the star. That is also can be a source of dimming, but those should be irregular. A planet going around, so it takes a while to sort the data out, is dimming on a regular sequence. But now that's not how they discovered this. They discovered this because the planet. Now you can also you can't use the dimming if the plane of the ecliptic of that star system is oriented like this to Earth. But there's some things you can see radial displacement. Another thing you can look for is Doppler shift and the red shift of the star and see what the frequency of the Doppler shift is as the star moves back and forth, because the planet and the star will actually orbit around the center of gravity of the two. The star being more massive is not that perceptible. With good instruments, you can discern that. So you'll see some changes in the red shift if it's going away from you. And that's exactly how they did it. And they used this instrument here. Let me do a share from Penn State. And this is it. Penn State Habitable Zone Planet Finder. Highest precision measurements to date of infrared signals from nearby stars. So this is at the clean room there at the Habitability, how do you pronounce it? Eberly Telescope at the McDonald Observatory, I suppose. But anyway, so let's go over here and look at some of the articles about it. Here's one of them here talking about, well, yeah, we found 6,000 planets now. This is some artist impression of it. The image comes from the University of California, Irvine. And yeah, this is less than 20 light years away. That's actually 18.2. It's a rocky planet. Even a sub-Neptune could be of interest, as it might have an ocean. This is believed to be a rocky planet, a super Earth, much bigger than Earth. Now, one good thing about that is it could have a much bigger biosphere. It'd be, just imagine if you made Earth a lot bigger, had more continents, more oceans. Like what all we could have on Earth if we were a bigger planet. It'd be a little bit harder to get off the surface with rockets, but nonetheless, it's an interesting planet. So we've had others we've seen before of great interest, like TRAPPIST-1e, LHS 1140b. But so this one's been added to the list of exoplanets that could possibly have life, and this is the closest. Well, actually, because of its size, this one's of great interest. There's actually one that's closer, and Alpha Centauri Proxima b star, Alpha Centauri Proxima b, however you say that. So that one's actually closer. There's one in the habitable zone there too, but this one's got scientists more excited because it is a super Earth. So yeah, here it is. It's in the constellation Gemini, the twins, 4 times bigger than Earth, just like I said. So anyway, I'll stop the share. I just wanted to share that with you guys. So we'll keep an eyeball on this eyeball planet to see what we find out about it. There's many others. Maybe I'll start bringing you stories about. There's been a lot of announcements about planets, chemicals found in the atmospheres of some of these planets that's further out that seem to be indicative of life. Chemicals that we only find uh, that we know of and processes that are life are associated with. There's been a lot of claims. They get debunked, and then they get reestablished. So it's going to be interesting. Space is getting more interested every day. There's tons of articles out every day, new findings. It's just hard to keep up with them all. But I want to try to be more regular, bringing you guys updates on these kind of things. And maybe I'll get back into talking about rocket motors and propulsion and system development like that. And I'll try to get some interviews going on this channel like I've done in the past. So subscribe, bang the bell, click all, and above all, keep looking up. Thank y'all for watching. Greg out.